Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to BSD Barks Back. We were just going over how old me and Bill are. So we'll move on from that. Of course, this is the Big Pats Week. We're happy to introduce to the podcast Ryan Spagnoli. Ryan is with Pat's Pulpit. Welcome, Ryan. Glad to have you.
And,
Thank you,
Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Billy Burt, who you guys know, is the sports editor at the Eagle Trib. All right, guys, we're
Hold on a second. Ryan is famous for other things. He knows someone who was the star of Love Island. I think he went to school with him. He might have carried his bag in baseball practice.
Other way around, Bill.
I know that Kevin doesn't watch Love Island, so hopefully some of the young listeners out there, they would know. They would know Josh Goldstein. So anyone out there that knows Josh, this guy knows Josh, and he's famous because he knows.
Yeah, I know Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
No, not Fantasy Island. So you're old.
That was 100 years ago.
So wait a minute. You said Patriots Week. This is not Patriots Week. This is not a big Patriots Week. This is the most anticipated regular season football game ever. Maybe there was a national championship in college. I don't know. Maybe there was an Alabama game back when Bear Bryant was, doing what he was doing back in the 60s and 70s. But right now, this is the game. It's Brady versus Belichick. I do have a popsicle headache from talking about it so this is my last time I'll probably talk about it. But this is the you don't get these all the time. I think I guess I saw the ratings. The two highest rated NFL games of all time, regular season, were Dallas, San Francisco in '96. And that was with the great Dallas team, and that was with Steve Young. San Francisco at '95, I think it was. And then it was the Patriots and Colts in 2007, regular season. So great game. Patriots won that game too in Indianapolis. So that's what we got here. This is arguably going to be the most anticipated game. It's a night game, which helps. And I think this is going to be, I think the highest rated game is 22.8. We're going to see 25-26, I believe, for this game nationally.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to help those folks in the stands. I don't know if it's going to be chilly or not, but they'll be plenty ready. Now, do you think there's the kind of the hoopla, and it looks like we've lost Ryan for the time being, but
he got a bad connection. I'll be back in a second.
Do you feel that anticipation? I almost feel like it's it's almost a bit of a letdown. Just coming in what could have been two 2-1 teams, the future, the past, all that stuff. This is just going to be a Brady Belichick back and forth. I mean, I'm thinking of just tuning out of the networks and just tuning into the local radio. I don't know which one would be worse.
Thank God we don't got to deal with the Mannings over this one. But I will say, so nationally though, I think this is going to be a big game. They're not into the 1-2 and 2-1 record. They're into Brady and Belichick going against each other, as we are. But look, we have not talked about the game. Ryan, more so than I have, can talk more about the matchups, and I think he popped out again. But I think that we have not discussed what's going to happen in the game, and that tells me that this game is bigger than a game. What happens is the game within the game is bigger than the game, and this is bigger. And I will say this: Monday, I can't wait. The Patriots' warts are going to be the same. I think Tampa Bay, and I said this months ago, I don't think they're good. I think they're in trouble this year. I know everything looks great. They returned all their starters. Repeating a Super Bowl is nearly impossible, and you need a special coach with special players. And they don't have either in Tampa, in my opinion. It's tough to repeat. It's tough to give that same effort again when everyone's looking to knock your head off. And I think Tampa's very good. I think they're as talented as anybody. So them going forward, I think the stories after this game are going to then become the real stories. I think Tampa's going to be a little overrated. I think the Patriots are going to be probably a little overrated too. But this game is different. And I'm throwing out everything. I think I would pick Tampa. They should win. They're 7 points favorites, and they should be. But as one of the stories I wrote this week about the revenge factor, you can never discount that with Belichick. He's not normal, and he's been. My opinion. This is my opinion. He has been working on this game alone over the last 9 months because he knew they were going to play them this year. Didn't know where, didn't know when. Then they knew where. No, I think they probably knew where. They didn't know when. So and guess what? Tampa Bay told everyone, we're getting all our guys back. We're going to run the same offense. Guess what Bill Belichick said? Oh, that's cool. All right. So I don't have to figure out new things because this is the offense you're going to run next year. So my point, and plus the offense looks, guess what? A lot like the Patriots offense because Tom is now running the offense. So my point is, I think Belichick's revenge, I compared it to Moby Dick and Ahab. I don't know if anyone's read that recently. I haven't read it recently, but Moby Dick never forgot, and Ahab paid. So I think in revenge games, Belichick wins them 9 times out of 10. I think he's going to win this one.
Now, Ryan, let me catch you up a little bit because we were talking about how, this is going to be played out as the biggest regular season game and, how many years you want to go back. However, as far as I'm concerned, I was looking forward to a couple teams that were, competing for the top of their division. I know the Bucks are, but what's the feeling you're getting as far as, the enormity of the game, especially with, with the folks that you, not only by covering the team, but the folks you deal with on a, day-to-day basis. So they looking at this as a big game, or are they looking at this as, TB12 versus the hoodie?
I think what Matthew Slater said this week was perfect, right? He said nobody has more respect for Tom than me, and for what he did for my family, what he did for this team. But he said this week the New England Patriots need to focus on the New England Patriots, and I think that was really well said, right? They're a 1-2 team. They have not played well. Even that game versus the Jets, it was a good win. The defense played well, but they only, they had 4 or 5 turnovers and still only scored 25 points. Couldn't really finish drives, the problems that they consistently keep having. So if they kind of get caught up in the distractions to do with the game with the Brady versus Belichick, I think it's doing them a disservice. Like I said, I think they just need to focus on, playing a really good football team, a complete game for the first time this year, and really try to string, complementary football together down the stretch. You've seen it in spurts. This team can be good, but I still think the newness of this roster comes back to bite them sometimes throughout the game, right? You've seen uncharacteristic penalties from guys not on the same page. Obviously, new quarterback, new weapons. It's going to happen. But I think for the most part, they just need to focus on themselves and what they need to do to win this game. The Bucs are a really good team, but I think Bill's game plan will be to shorten that game as much as possible, control the clock, keep the ball out of Tom's hands, similar to what they did when they faced Mahomes in the past and what teams tried to do with the Patriots, when Brady was here, right? Shorten the game, keep the ball out of his hand, limit his opportunities. And that's why I think this run game, as good as Tampa is against the run, it's really important for them to get out ahead and control the game.
Yeah, so what Ryan says is 100% true. And the only thing I'm going to say is I think I'm throwing out some of it because of the enormity of the game. And I think the players understand it. I know Belichick understands it. Belichick, by the way, was Belichick going to be, hey, Tom is, Tom was a good player for us. And, we're moved on from Tom. There was a thought that could be this week. No, Belichick has come out and said, basically he helped us win as much as anyone, as much as I did. I needed him. He's the best quarterback that ever lived, in so many words. And so my point is, he's come out and basically played that role. We weren't really sure, to be honest with you, because his history is he doesn't say anything. But he's disarming, I think, the crowd, the Brady crowd. And, we got to deal with it. And so one thing I don't like as part of this breakup was the Brady or Belichick. You have to choose. Well, we know it's not that simple. Obviously, Brady has helped Belichick. But guess what? I don't think Brady would be who he was without Belichick. So, but back to the game, I think the Patriots are going to probably play their best game. I'm dead serious, and I don't think this is a great Patriots team. I've already said, I wrote this after last week, I'm recalibrating what the Patriots are. I think they're a 7 seed at best. I think that could be dangerous if they made the playoffs, because I think they're going to build towards that. I Mac Jones isn't ready. The wide receivers aren't ready. The new defensive guys aren't ready. They brought a lot of guys in, and it takes time, is what we're finding out.
Well, you lost White too, and before we get to the X's and O's, let's get to the rumor is, and I don't know if you can confirm this, either one of you can, that they're going to run a pregame tape for Brady, kind of the welcome back thing. I would assume both teams will be, in their locker rooms. They won't be on the sidelines when that takes place. But what do you think about the possibility of the league stopping the game? It's going to be midway, first quarter or something like that. He gets a couple drives. He's going to have 60 yards passing. Whoever wants to take this first, or whoever's heard anything more about the league, not about the video, how much do you think that would crawl up the hoodie's backside if they stop the game here?
Go ahead, Rob.
I think that was the biggest unknown going into the game, which I thought was so interesting. Is like, what are they going to do, right? Are they going to honor him? Obviously, he breaks the record. It's just a situation that they've never been in before, because they've had the same quarterback for 20 years. So you really didn't know what they were going to do. But I haven't heard anything, so that's news to me. But I would be shocked if they didn't do a little something for him. I think it's well deserved. But then at the same time, people forget Gronk's on that team too. He was a big piece to what they did here, the last, Dynasty 2.0, whatever you want to call it. So obviously Tom meant a lot more to the franchise and turned, as Greg Bedard said this week, turned Gillette Stadium into an ATM machine for the Crafts. I think Tom deserves that. So I haven't heard anything, no, but I think it's well deserved.
I agree. I think they will do something. I think this is part of the plan. I think the Crafts probably got involved and said, we got to do something, and they should. And it'll be pregame. It'll probably be when they're in the locker rooms. But I know Tom Brady Sr. will be at the stadium. He will see it. But
damn right.
Yeah, damn. The thing is, they should do something. I mean, and look, I wasn't really sure, but after seeing Belichick this week, I think he's basically wants this week to end, and it will end. And I think he thinks he's got a game plan to keep it close. So I expect Tom to get noticed, and I think the league should give him when he gets the all-time leading yardage. You stop the game for a second, he gets his applause, and I mean, it happens in all sports everywhere. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's what they do, and it's an all-time record. So all-time records get honored. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But I look at how the Patriots have talked this week, and it's been pretty glowingly, not over the top, but it's been glowingly in favor of Tom, and I think it deserves to be. And I think that's what you're going to get on Sunday night.
Yeah, and I think that's a network thing too. I think the network steps in and says, listen, you got the greatest quarterback of all time who came back and broke the record, and in your building, you're going to have to swallow the pill again. Okay, how do they win this game? Let's get on to the real football. Ryan, I'll start with you. They lost White out of the backfield. It's got to be ball control, obviously. What do they have to do? 3 things on both sides of the ball to win this game on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think I touched upon it a little bit before. I think what they'll try to do offensively is just try to, like I said, shorten that game up, right? You don't want to get into a time possession battle with them. You don't want to, give the ball to them too many times, because they can run points up on a hurry and much quicker than you can. So I'd like to see him, win the toss and take the ball first and go on a nice, classic 7-minute drive, eat some clock, put some points on the boards and show the Bucks that they're here to play. So I think that shortened the game. I think too that secondary for the Bucks is really banged up. They're missing, I think, 2 or 3 starters. Sherman's playing this week, but he's obviously really new. I don't even know if he's in football shape yet. So you might see Mac Jones be able to throw a little bit. Obviously, you got to give him some more time than he's had the first 3 weeks. And I think defensively, that's the biggest matchup of this game. I think Bill, you said it, the game within the game, just focusing on the 2 teams. I mean, that receiving core, it's hard to find a team with a better receivers than they do, right? Gronk, Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, right? And then you get the Fournette and Ronald Jones out of the backfield. I mean, the weapons that they have, they can do a lot of damage to a lot of defenses. So I think, how well is this secondary? I think they've been a little bit better than we had expected going into the year, but they'll be really tested this week with, who gets who, right? I mean, pick your poison with those 3 when they go into those 3 wide receiver sets and Gronk lined up. Like, that's a difficult spot to be in for a defense.
So I'm look, if both teams play well, Tampa wins by 10, maybe more. I think what we're going to see is Patriots defense plays its first good game, and they played okay. They played in spurts okay. They didn't give up a lot of points. Even last week was 21 points, but the end of 2 games they couldn't get the Miami or last week couldn't get them off the field. So New Orleans off the field. So I think they're going to play better. I think they're going to have probably a good game plan for Brady. Probably take away some of the slants and the short stuff, which is what he likes to throw early. The Patriots defense has to play really well for them to have a chance, besides everything else. So let's throw, if the Patriots run the ball well, if Mac Jones throws the ball well, that doesn't matter if the Patriots defense doesn't play well. As Ryan said earlier, you got to have a chance when you play Kansas City, Mahomes, or the Bucks and Brady. You got to keep him off the field, and by that, you're gonna have some 3 and outs too, not just 8-minute drives, because you're probably not. This is a good Tampa Bay defense too. It's look, let's be honest. The real MVP of the Super Bowl last year was the Tampa Bay defense. I don't know who in particular. You could have given it to 2 or 3 guys. So Patriots defense, A game. Create a turnover. Win the turnover battle. And then Mac's going to have to make a play or 2. Yes. Patriots are going to have to run the ball well. What's well? 120 yards. Let's see. J.J. Taylor, can he be a nice addition? Can, Monty Stevenson, can he get back in good graces? James White's a huge loss. This is the kind of game I think you'd want James White. No, not I think. You need James White. I argued when I was at the Jet game in New York, he literally lit the fire that turned that game around. It was a nothing game, and the fans in New York, I had to give them credit. New Jersey, they were going crazy until White caught a 29-yard pass, ran 7 yards, 5 yards, then ran in for a touchdown. The game was over. They don't have James White anymore, and James White is sort of the key guy in big games. So, but I got a funny feeling about this game. This game will not, even if the Patriots upset the Bucks, this does not mean the Patriots are going to go 11-6. Which is what I thought they were going to do. I'm now back into 9-8, 10-7 if they're lucky, barely scrape into the playoffs. I just think they're going to play their best game, and I think it's going to be defensively. I think they're going to win the turnover battle. I think Tom's going to be good, okay. I don't think he's going to be great. And they got to find a way to get some pressure on him, too. It's not just stopping the run. You got to get some pressure on him, make him throw the ball. So this is a kind of game I'm throwing the game plan out a little bit in a sense where I don't exactly know how the Patriots are going to win. I feel like this is a game that Belichick has circled and studied, and when he does that, they usually have a chance to win it. Now they're going to have to probably make a few plays. No, they are going to have to make a few plays. Mac's going to have to throw a 30-yard pass. I know he doesn't like doing it, or I think he likes to. Hasn't done a lot. He's going to have to throw a couple of them here because they're going to also their defense is good, and Bowles is tough. Good defensive coordinator, and they're going to try. It's what he did when he was with the Jets. Take away the short pass. He tried to do that with Brady, and Brady eventually figured it out. It's tough for this kid to figure it out. So on paper, it's tough to figure the Patriots winning. They'd have to get get 3 turnovers versus 1 at most. But I just have a funny feeling about this weekend.
What's the update, or is there any update on Brown as far as is he even? I didn't see the injury list this week.
I can talk to. I think they're both coming. Brown and Gronk were both iffy. Looks like they're both going to be game time decisions. I'm guessing they both play. Ryan.
Yeah, have you heard anything, Ryan?
I think Brown was close to playing last week. Brown was close to playing last week, so I would be shocked if he wasn't out there. As bad as that right tackle spot's been, they almost need him.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and
Uche,
you
guys,
too. I think he'd be a big help.
Do you make anything out of this? I guess Matt Judon, went off about. He didn't even really go off about Brady. I mean, this is one of those, straw man arguments as far as I'm concerned. But do you think Brady's people told him that, it takes, it basically takes a village? And if he does hear that, how many balls do you think are going to go over his head come Sunday night?
Going over his head is one thing. If he's covering someone, that's another. So now, believe me, Judon's going after Brady. And this is a big game for him. Big game. Because he's played, I think statistically his stats look like he's had a great run here. He hasn't made a play when it mattered yet. That's my only issue. I'm not into the numbers per se. But again, this is I'm giving this Patriots team time, which I wasn't at the beginning of the season. I think I just said Belichick's brilliant. He will figure this out. No, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. So but back to Judon, I think this is a big game for him. He knows it too. This is why he was brought in. So individually, they can have a good game plan, but individually he can make things happen. He could get a sack, and it's not even a sack with Brady. Just pressure him, make him throw the ball a little early, and force a couple of turnovers. He will throw. I'll tell you what, the Brady in his 40s throws more potential interceptions than the guy that was in his 20s and 30s here. Just there's always 2 balls where you go, whoa, and that usually doesn't happen. Like sort of the Jameis Winston 5 balls. I think we're going to get 2 out of Brady. You got to catch him though.
And finally, what's going on with the holdout here? Are we ever going to see the cornerback? I'm sorry. The whole, yeah, the whole it's always 2 balls thing. I was thinking of a way that I could cut that and turn it into something that wasn't. But are we going to see him or not? I mean, I would have thought he would have been back by now. What is it, week 6, and then he starts getting fined? Is that?
Well, no, he's technically he's on IR.
Well, he's on the PUP list, so he can't come back.
Yeah, he's not allowed to come back. So he'll be back officially after 6 games. So game 7. And
okay,
look, he's coming back. He's probably coming back. If I'm him, I'm coming back. He can make a lot of money. This is where he can make his money, whether it's next year with someone else or with the Patriots. And if I'm betting, he's coming back game 7.
I think this is a game they need him too, right? I mean, you have those really good receivers. It makes life difficult for Jalen Mills, who I think's been a lot better than we saw in training camp. If you had Gilmore and Jackson on both sides of the ball, I think that would make this matchup a little bit more comfortable when you look at their offense versus defense. I think that's a hole that, and Brady knows how to exploit a defense and go after weaknesses. And it's really easy to find that the cornerback 2 spot, as good as Jalen Mills has been, he's going to pick him apart because it's either Mike Evans or Antonio Brown on him. So this is a game where they would really need Stephon Gilmore, which is unfortunate.
That's a great point. We will find out where the Patriots' weakness is on defense because Brady's going to exploit it.
Yes.
And lastly, what do you think with the condition of the secondary of the Bucks? All you hear around here now is that they've got the restraints on. The kid's not able to throw deep. Do you think you see them maybe throw a hitch or 2 into the game plan, test the cornerbacks early, and try to stretch the field with Jones a little bit, give him something to think about. Primarily, I know they're going to run the ball, but do you think that's something that Josh considers, first drive or two?
I think so, right? I think he threw 51 times last game. I mean, obviously, when you're behind, you're going to need to do that. But I'd like to see him in the shotgun a little bit more. I mean, he did it at Alabama. That seems to be his strength. When he really did well. So I'd like to see them, open it up a little bit more. I think this secondary is the Bucs' weakness if they have any. Let him throw, see what he's got. It's a big moment for him.
So I look at this. He's had opportunities. I get what we're finding in the film is there are guys been open that he hasn't seen. So that's not all on Josh. I mean, if a guy's open and he's calling a pass play, he's supposed to throw it. And so a couple on him. But look, this is fourth start. Remember, Brady got to see a full season in 2 games, 2 games basically before he got his first start. 2 years older, almost 2 years older than Mac Jones is. And he played, let's be honest, I know Brady was in and out a little bit for part of his senior year, but, Brady played a lot more college football than Mac Jones did. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But this team has to look. I said this. The defense. Mac Jones is going to have to catch up to the defense. That was my game 1 prognostication. Well, that sort of changed to now the defense. Now the defense has got to catch up to Mac. Then that changed last week to they both better play damn better. And I think we're going to see Mac. Just a little bit more. He's going to have to throw the ball downfield. He's got a nice, his go passes, the go pattern passes have been pretty good. But those aren't the passes that you win with. Those are just sort of 50-50 balls. The ones he's got to see are the, he's 5-step, 7-step back draw, step in the pocket, and then him hit the guy going across 35 yards downfield. That's the great quarterback bomb that he's got to start throwing. But he's going to have to make a couple plays this week. Absolutely. This is not going to be run the football, keep Brady off the field. That's not how this works. You got to get a few turnovers. And look, Brady's first year, it was Brady had to make a few plays every game. Well, Mac's going to make a few plays.
All right. And we'll wrap it up on this. Knowing Foxborough the way I do, I think I still have season tickets floating around somewhere in the family. This has a chance of getting ugly. Let's say they're down a couple scores or whatever. After the first half, they just look terrible. What do you think the chances are that no goalposts going down Route 1 or anything like that? It's a good thing Ryan's not here because he'd roll his eyes. But do you think it could get ugly?
I don't think so. No. So, you mean with fans? Yeah, it could. It could. We are, by far the most spoiled region in the world is this little region that we live in. And Patriots fans, I don't want to say embarrassing. That's a strong word, but when you go to a Patriots game, it's nothing like going, and I said this before, going to Kansas City. In Kansas City, when you're struggling, the fans cheer and it lifts the team up. In New England, they wait for the players to lift them up. So it's a different animal. And when it gets cold, those red club seats or the green, I think, they're empty because they like being warm and you can get the food's a little better in that middle area of the stadium. It could get ugly. Tampa wins 41-14. It's going to be an ugly. It's going to be another tough week for Belichick. I think it's going to be the Brady stuff is going to hang over. I don't think it's happening though. I think. I think the Patriots defense plays their best game.
All right, Billy, on that note, I'm going to let you go. Good luck this weekend. He'll be wearing pinstripes just so everybody knows. And thank you to Ryan for joining us. Too bad we weren't able to sign off.
Cut Ryan because he, it was sort of a late call. Ryan's really up and comer in Patriots and sports writing. Really good. Went to Southern New Hampshire College, played baseball and hockey up there. good athlete, and from Burlington, from good baseball pedigree and hockey pedigree there. So you want to remember that name, Ryan Spagnoli.
Absolutely. And I've connected his info on this as well. So thanks to everybody. I hope everybody enjoys the game. Be good. Don't throw stuff. And but you can boo Belichick. That's fine with me. He's Billy Burt. I'm Kevin Flanagan. He's Ryan Spagnoli driving around somewhere. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in and take care.